Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey. My goodness, I went to say hey everybody and a frog was in my throat. Hey everybody. Happy day. It's October and we pushing out videos for the month of October. Well, let me get a little swig. Hold on, y'all. How rude. Pardon me. Hold on. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm doing good. I have my lashes done today. I have my feet did yesterday. No, it was Friday. That's right. Saturday I went to the winery with my sister. We had a good old time, and it was some shenanigans going on. Child, folks trying to pick up folks. This old man, we called him Mr. Furley, or was it Mr. Roper? I forget which one, but he was just swirling his wine around in his glass. Found him a couple of fish he trying to put on the a couple of fish he thought he was gonna put on the bait, make bait of, or whatever that's called, y'all. You know what I'm talking about. Girl, next thing you know, my sister was like, girl, he didn't say, oops, I hope I didn't offend you. Then all of a sudden he was gone. I was like, oh, what did he say? What did he do? But before that, child, guess what we saw? As we was walking in the winery, right, we saw this couple with their dog. I'm like, here we go with the dogs at the winery. I mean, can they stay home? Anywho, it was, fall season, and even though it's 100 degrees outside where we at, it's fall season, so they got the little decor for picture taking and making memories and everything. So they are posing the dog to take pictures with the pumpkins and the fall decor and posing the dog. I said, child, look at this. Look. The dog is just taking photos like it's in a photo shoot. I know. Listen, I ain't opposed to no dog, but when it's supposed to be adult atmosphere, I don't want to see woof woof. And while you the only one with the dog, ain't nobody else here with their dog but y'all. So we go into the room where I have a membership. So we go into the room where we're supposed to be chilling and relaxing. All of a sudden, Wolfie over there barking. I'm like, See, this again. I ain't opposed to no dog. Dogs are wonderful, but they don't belong at the winery. I mean, unless they're there for a reason. Folks got issues and they need dogs with them for whatever, medical reasons. That's fine. But ain't nobody trying to sip wine with no dog nearby. They got, hair flying everywhere. Hopefully not a flea flicking off nobody. It's just a little unpleasant. So hopefully when I go back, Wolf Wolf and his homies or his canine brethren won't be there. Leave your dogs at home when you go into the winery because we don't want to deal with that. We're trying to relax and talk about people. People watch, child. But that we had a good time. We had a great time. If you don't ever go to a winery, luckily we're here in California, so there's a lot of things to do, like going to the wineries and even when you don't have to spend the night, you just go for the day, and then go back to your house, and of course, sipping, and sipping. And the good old tapas meals that we had was great. Now, mind you, I love a good Brussels sprout. Ooh, I love me a good Brussels sprout, child. But they have Brussels leaves that they, uh, uh, cook, get them a little crisp with some seasoning and some pomegranate seeds and some balsamic covering. And I don't want the goat cheese, so I said no cheese. I don't really like all that cheese. And it was just so, I can eat that all day. Let me tell you. Of course, I brought some home. It didn't last. I ate it today. I ate the rest today. But sure enough, who is peeling the Brussels sprouts? Now, mind you, we thought they must be using a machine. Well, yeah. They must be using a machine. But lo and behold, we spoke to one of the folks that worked there, and it's like, no, someone is peeling them. I said, who is peeling Brussels sprout? If you know what a Brussels sprout look like, it's a tiny cabbage. Now, cabbage is one thing. Okay, I can understand cabbage being peeled, but Brussels sprouts, child, who? They must be getting $50 an hour because there is no way I could. Well, I guess if push comes to shove. But yeah, them Brussels leaves was off the chisane, and we had some meatballs with beef and lamb and very nice seasoning and garlic. It was just so great. And then she ordered, what she ordered? I'm not really fond of fried vegetables, but the fried cauliflower was pretty good. It wasn't too overly fried like the normal fried chicken situation. It was a tiny coating, and it wasn't overwhelmingly, fried or crunchy. It was just a nice coating over the cauliflower. Taste was so great. It was a hint of lemon zest in it. Oh, it was so delicious. What else we had? Oh, we had ceviche. You can never go wrong with ceviche. Child. Okay. What else we have? I think that was it. And some wine, child. Went home with a few bottles each. She had to go to another winery down the street where we went earlier in the year, where we had a little bed and breakfast situation for a weekend back in February. And she had to go get her wine that she wanted to get. But other than that, we had a great time. Shout out to Temecula, California, and all the wineries that's out there. It's about 1,000 of them, child. Pick one and go. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. You're here to hear me talk about Reasonable Doubt, season 1. We on episode 3. Let me get a little swig, y'all. Hold on. Ooh, 2.5 gulps. Mm-hmm. So, child, let's get into it. Jax, the wonderful criminal attorney, public defender, is where she came from. So now we know she working out and getting it all together, trying to get the schedule together with her estranged husband Lewis. They're at her house, or at the normal home, okay, not his Airbnb that he's been renting out for I don't know how long. And their daughter Naima is complaining that her stomach is hurting. And they're both like, well, you'll be all right. You know how it is with kids. Well, stomach hurt. Well, okay, we're going to figure it out. We'll see what's going on. So they getting ready for school and going and going. And Naima's, just trying to get the schedule together. Of course, she's very busy. Anyone who is an attorney, no matter who they attorney in for, it's just a lot of work, I can imagine. Child, please. So then Jax and her team meet at Brayton's, her new client that is accused of 187ing his former love interest slash high power employee who was going to speak at Good Morning America that morning. They found her deceased in her apartment. And so they are meeting at Brayton's, and lo and behold, he just excused his wife, Sarah. Oh, don't you got somewhere to be? Something to do? She's like, oh, okay. Well, if you need anything, let me know. I'm like, well, dang. So that obviously, tick Jax off to know that he hasn't told his wife everything that's been going on. And he's like, well, I just told her everything in the media is not true. Boy, if you don't tell your wife what's really going on, so I don't know. I got a little funny feeling the wife already knew. Look, the wife always knows. Okay, that's just how that is. What else happened? That was pretty much it. They just pretty much going over things real quick about what to expect, and she's just looking at him like, okay, he didn't tell his wife everything by now. She's like, everything is gonna come out. So you need to sit her down and talk to her because we ain't got no time for nothing else going on. So then Jackson and her girls are doing drinks that evening. Um, and they're just going back and forth about things. And Jax offends her friend Shannelle. Well, Shannelle is going on and on and on about high powered, men like her husband Jamarian. He's an ex NFL player, and he's retired, and $100 million or whatever, how much millions that they got. And she's just kind of talking like brushing things off about high powered men. And Jack is like, girl, you must be stigmatized, because child, what you saying right now, did he write that speech for you? And she felt offended because later on in the episode we find out that she's going to need Jax. Hello. So then the next scene is Fallon, and she is there. Now, remember, Fallon is Kalisha, the deceased, her cousin. And Fallon is there and approaches Jax at her law firm. Like, I saw you on TV and you lied. You lied in my face about representing that man. And Jax was like, listen, at first I wasn't his attorney, but according to the evidence that's been presented, he's innocent. So she has to do her job. Fallon don't like it. She storms off, but Jax is trying to see if they can meet later and try and sort things out. So the Fallon's like, okay, cool, but you paying. And of course Jax is paying. Shoot, Jax all the money. Popo raised Braden's home. Okay. At the same time, they are raiding Damon's abode. His PO is saying that his piss test came back inconclusive, so he's tearing his little one-bedroom abode apart, looking for some drugs or some type of paraphernalia to put him back in prison. And he's like, man, what you tearing up my stuff for? You ain't got to do it like that. But the Popo put his hand on his gun, was like, I can do whatever the hell I want. Same thing with Braden. Braden was like, that's an antique. What the hell are you doing? And so the cop in charge like put his hand on his gun, like, I can do whatever the hell I want. We looking for stuff. It is what it is. Now, mind you, I understand they're looking for things and carrying on, but they ain't got to tear up the place and break stuff. That shouldn't even be allowed. If I hear anything, you can look for something and not break it. I mean, if you just want to tear up somebody's stuff, that made me mad a little bit. Because, child, I guess I got a little, it triggered me because when I went through TSA this past summer, they tore off my lock instead of using their instrument to go in my bag like others have done. And so I'm just going back and forth with them about it. So I felt a little, triggered by that. And I'm serious, TSA. And it was Atlanta TSA because they're the only ones who went through it like that and broke it. Now, I've been to Turks, Caicos, all sorts of places, and neither do them have to tear the lock off of my luggage. There's a simple part that TSA has as a certain type of key that they unlock it, look through the bag, and lock it back. But apparently, there's somebody in Atlanta TSA that don't know how to do their job. Incompetent MFs. Anywho, where was I? Yeah, Popo raiding everybody, child. So at the same time, Jax is feeling real overwhelmed. She's getting calls during all these raids. Brain's getting raided. What can I do? Okay, I'll be right. Oh, shoot, I was supposed to get an hour notice. They didn't give me a notice that they were going to come, so let me take care of that. Then she's get a text talking about from Naima talking about dad picked me up from school. She's like, what is going on? So she called Lewis. Lou's like, hey, what's up? She's like, why you taking me Naeem out of school? He's like, her stomach hurt. She's like, she's going back and forth with him about, well, is her one last time she had a bowel movement? Did you give her this? Did you give her that? Then she get another call, and it's Damon. Like I said before, his stuff was getting tore up because the PO found and had an inconclusive piss test. So she's telling him, I got you. I'll meet with you tomorrow. So she hangs up with him. Some girl in the hallway is like, hey, girl. She's like, hey, girl. And she on the phone with, look back on the phone with Lewis. She's like, what? She's like, I'm sorry. It's just a busy day. And so she's going back and forth with Lewis about what he can do for her and what he can do for Naima and all this, that, and the third. He said, well, I brought her home because she said her stomach was hurt. So, it is what it is. So she got to get back with Braden on his raid, got to get back with Damon and his little raid, got to get back with her husband Lewis and her daughter's stomach hurting and just all kind of stuff carrying on. Whoo, child. So then Phelan talks to the DA. And at the same time, Jackson and her team are strategizing, trying to figure out what they can do for Braden and carrying on, trying to figure out what the DA may have missed. Let's get on that. Whoop de whoop. And Fallon is talking to the DA himself about, why is Braden getting so much press when the victim is her cousin, Kalisha. And then the DA was like, well, we are putting everything we have to resolve this case. And she was like, yeah, like you did so-and-so. And so, like, she named 3 other cases where Black women were 187 and those are unsolved. And he was like, listen, it's not like that. It's just, we're putting everything we have in this particular case and we're just doing what we have. She said, yeah, so the other 3 ladies are being left alone. And he said, at this time, we are trying to solve this case. With him saying and not saying that they're not doing anything for the other 3, she's just not, she's just like, okay, they're gonna do the same thing to my cousin like they did the other 3, because she knows in her heart of hearts that Braden is the one who took her cousin off this planet. Okay, well, So then Dan, the PI, finds some intel at Kalisha's apartment. He had to be real racist with his fellow Korean brethren, who is the manager or the owner of the apartment. They're talking about Black people in their native tongue and how, trifling Black people are, and this is what we get for renting to them, and yada yada. And Dan was just like, I don't like this conversation, but I got to do this to get this information. Ooh. So he went back and told Jax, I had to be real racist to get this information. Like, I don't like this. She said, well, thank you. Like, don't nobody want to be all that, but you got to do what you got to do. So Jax helps the ex-con with the PO. She ended up getting him a new PO assigned and, getting his inconclusive test done over so that everything is fine, because he's not using anything or doing anything. He's not even smoking cigarettes, child. So that's good for him, because it would be a real sad situation if he was actually doing something and the test came back not negative, child. So then Jack talks to Sarah because she went over to Braden's and she had to talk to her because Sarah was on her way out the door, mad and upset because a video was released of Braden and Kalisha kissing in the elevator. And so Sarah's putting on, I swear Sarah's putting on, if some tells me Sarah already knows about Braden and Kalisha. So Sarah storms out the house as Jax was coming in. Luckily, Jax saved the day because, of course, she has to present a united front of her client and his wife, even though he was doing what he was doing. So she talks to Sarah, and Sarah comes from money. She's like, well, I've been through a whole lot coming from where I come from, but it just hurts still. It hurts the same. Jack's like, I can understand that. But if you're going to stay married to this man, then we need to show that you are his wife in front of the camera. And we can't have you storming out, getting mad, and looking and saying things that you shouldn't look and say while we're out in public. I mean, if you want to yell at him and do whatever in the house, do what you got to do. But while we're out and about and in front of other folks, we have to provide a certain type of unity, excuse me, that will not seem as though there's trouble at the house. And of course, we all know that she has to do whatever's best for her client. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, nah. So then Rich, who is her the other attorney that Braden went to at first to deal with the NDA issues with Kalisha, he gets a call and talks to Theo. And Theo is giving bad vibes. Like Theo may not be the guy Braden says he is. You know, Braden says Theo is, you know, originally helped him get his company started, and he's his right hand man. He trusts Theo, whoop de woo. But right now, Theo isn't given the most trustworthy of friends. You know, he's sounding more nonchalant and not as, you know. Keep an eye on Theo. He could have did it too. So then Lewis at the house with Naima and their son, and Naima's, you know, in the bathroom and she needs some help. Come to find out, all that stomach ache stuff was because she's becoming a woman. Lewis was like, what? Oh. He was like, huh? What? What's going on? So, you know, she was telling him that she's, you know, having some issues down there and some spotting and carrying on. So he calls a doctor, makes an appointment, brings her in, and Naima follows a little later. And so they're just trying to go over plans. And Chad, did you know that? Did you? I'm all tongue tied over this. Did you know that they can give young girls medicine to stop the cycle? I'm like, is that something like Depo-Provera? I was real shocked. They said so it wouldn't start at all. And I'm like, what? I wonder is that Depo-Provera, because Depo-Provera is an injection women get so that they don't have cycles. But it does, you know, add weight and have other side effects that may or may not be detrimental. But anyway, I was wondering, wow, that's very interesting. But the girl is 10 years old. And they're like, 10? Yeah. I mean, just FYI, people in my family have gotten their cycle at 10 years old. So it's fairly normal because at around 9 is when your body starts to mature. It starts to change. So 10 years old, yeah, I mean, you know, child. Look, another piece of information. When I was in 10th grade, what is that? 14, 13, 14 years old. The girl that was in my, a Spanish girl, she was in my, not that Spanish matter, but you know, we always say the race of people, so ain't no big thing. But the Spanish girl told me that her parents are 9 years older than her. And she showed me a picture. And I'm like, they do look like little children with her as a baby. And she said they're both 9 years older than her. So and listen, what class was that? I think it was English class or something. Anyway, and I'm like, wow. And she said they were still together then. So 9 plus what, 13? They're like 23 with with a 14-year-old. Like what? 13-year-old? Like what? I couldn't imagine my 9-year-old having a baby with done got some girl pregnant and she the same age. What? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? So yeah, Naima 10, and she got her cycle. She's becoming a young woman a little earlier than normal. But yeah, it's happening. So next we got Jackson Court, and she's just, you know, going back and forth trying to figure out some things with her client, interviewing folks. I think it's the grand jury situation. And, you know, they're just going back and forth and just trying to solidify whether or not Braden will be actually charged with anything. You know, they're just going through the motions. And of course, she's thinking about her daughter, and it's just a whole stressful situation. So then Jax finds old diaries at her mom's house, right? And then some of those old journals refers back to Damon, the ex-con who recently got out, and she's trying to help, who's, PO was giving him a hard time. And she's talking to him on the phone, and they're just reminiscing, going back and forth. And, there's some, starts to get, the conversations get a little softer. They're, being a lot more personal with each other. I mean, the man's fine, and she ain't too hard on the eyes either. So it's all, I mean, hey. And her and her husband going through things. She already slept with the security guard her husband hired, and he looking at them doing it on the couch, and she's smiling at the camera. And apparently it's some stuff that they've done before, because she mentioned it, talking about, well, I thought you would have liked it, considering, our history. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to figure out what the rest of the history is. Or were they swingers back in the day? Child, we gonna find out, huh? So next we have Jax finds Naima's underwear, and it has some staining on it. And she talked to Naima about letting her know what's going on. Naima was like, well, you're just so busy. So that really put Jax into a headspin. After she puts Naima to bed, she goes on the couch and starts crying. And she's just realizing that, what Lewis said was right. She needs to prioritize a lot better so that her family is secure as she is the mother and the wife. And then at the end, we find Dan confronts Kalisha's cousin after he finds her and her boyfriend at the pawn shop. She has Kalisha's laptop. Apparently, she stole it from Kalisha's apartment, and they want to find out what's on that laptop. Maybe that could help them. And then Kalisha's cousin and boyfriend beats up Dan, and Jax hears it on the phone. And that's the end of that. Can't wait to figure out what happened on episode 4. Child, hope Dan's all right. Hope he ain't too badly bruised, child. But yeah, that's episode 3. Reasonable Doubt on Hulu. I hope you're watching, because child, it's good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So thanks again for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch you next time. Bye.